not only by teaching them the mysteries of the kingdom, but he was very careful to watch over them and to commend them where commendation was needed, and to chastise or to correct them where chastisement was needed. In Revelation chapter 2, please give us from verse 1. John was caught up in the Isle of Patmos, and he had an encounter with Jesus, the resurrected Christ, now in his glorified state. And he was asked to write a letter to the 7 churches. Now, theologically speaking, there were 7 churches in Asia Minor, but it was a prophetic representation of the entire church. Are we together? We are going to take just 2 of the churches to study the character of how God purifies his church. Are we together? Unto the angel of the church in Ephesus write, this thing saith he that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candles. Next verse. I know thy works. Now, are you seeing now? I know thy works and thy labor and thy patience, how thou canst not bear them which are evil, and thou hast tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and hast found them liars. We're reading to 11. Let's hurry up, medium. And has borne and has patience, and for my name's sake has labored and has not fainted. Are you seeing that he started by commending them? That, listen, I am not unaware of your sacrifice. I see your diligence and everything that you do for the kingdom. Then he says, nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left your first love. Remember therefore from whence thou hast fallen, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto you quickly, and I will remove thy candlestick out of his place, except you repent. Verse 6. It says, but this thou hast, that thou hatest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. 7. He that hath an ear, he says, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches. To him that overcometh, I will give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. Now, he goes to the next church, the church in Smyrna. He says, these things saith the first and the last, which was dead and is alive. Verse 9. I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogues of Satan. So he commends them now. He says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. The last verse, verse 11. It says, he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches, and he that overcometh shall not be hurt by the second death. Are we together now? So you see that the character of Jesus Christ in dealing with the church is that he would commend appropriately, and then he would correct. Please look up. This already is a template for every man of God and every leader to use in dealing with people. That means when you want to build and mature people, please let me have your attention. The first thing is that you must be lavish to correct them, but you must also be very lavish to commend them. When your ministry and your mentorship structure is only full of commendation and commendation, you are going to raise a people that are weak and will not sustain power and stamina. Your vision, your ministry, your organization will be full of flattery and lies. But then on the flip side of it, if your ministry is all about judgment and correction and rebuke and pointing fingers at people, you are going to produce a discouraged people. Are we together now? Because when you stretch the human spirit beyond certain boundaries, they become discouraged. There are parents today who have produced, in quote, what we call spoiled children. And the way they did that was by living a life that is full of commendation with no structure for improvement and rebuke. Whether the child is good or bad, that's it. They just love like that. And then there are those who produce children who are full of bitterness and offense and anger, because their entire lives, even when the children were giving their very best, it seemed like the best was never enough. So good mentorship, therefore, and that which makes for maturity and stature, must be a healthy blend, are we learning already, of commendation. And any ministry that focuses on just commendation without building and maturing the saints and chastising them if and when the need arises will produce a lopsided and a very weak believer. But then any ministry that is full of judgment and pointing fingers and leadership also, you will not be able to produce a matured people. So in dealing with this very sensitive subject of the purified church, it is important for us to understand that to get it right, we must adopt the template that was used by the apostle and the template that was used by Jesus himself. According to Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 1, it says we should be imitators of God. Be imitators of God. Some versions say be followers of God as dear children. That means as you have seen him do and act, do likewise. In 1 Peter chapter 2 and 21, I believe, it says we should follow in his steps. The last sentence, it says that we should follow in his steps. That means the way he made the church matured is the way we can make the church within our territory matured, by a healthy combination of commendation and then chastisement and rebuke.